All right, guys, here we are, back on the Hawk. And it looks like a small amount of road work has been done. Finally, the last couple episodes I kind of touched on how bad our road is up here, and it looks like they have done some work. It's still terrible though, and it's really a shame. I'm hoping that they finally get things together here, because it's really no fun to live on a road this bad, and I'm kind of having to be careful there because the terrain is really changeable, and you want to make sure you're being sensitive to how things change. On this road, as you can see in front of me, it goes from a hard pan to some loose gravel, and then you have to be prepared for large soft spots, little piles, and also new pit run that they might bring in, and then the holes, of course. So a lot to keep your eye on when you're out on your bike on some of these dirt roads. They are really inconsistent, and you must be on your toes. That's really part of your job, and I hope you take that into account. I have seen people get into trouble on a bike, kind of not paying that close of attention, and all of a sudden the ground changes underneath them, and the dynamics of your bike will change completely in an instant. And if you're not ready for that, you could be in for one whale of a surprise. So don't want you to get surprised. I want you to have a safe ride, of course. But I'm just taking a little trip here. Nothing big, but I thought it's a nice evening. And of course, like I've told you, I'm getting a late start to the year. As northern Minnesota, winter doesn't give up that easily. And to think that we had 9-10 inches of snow last week is really quite shocking. But that's what it's like living up here, and we deal with it because, well, it's such a nice area. It does really kind of make it worth it. And that's what we like. Now, kind of pointing my head, and my eyes are forward here, but there is this nice little stream next to the side of the road, and again, my eyes are pointing straight forward. Always kind of like seeing stuff like that when the water's high. Plenty of things to see. I think we'll take a run over to where the cows are and see if we can catch up to those guys this year. I haven't paid a visit to them since last year, so I think I'll run over there. And I guess you'll come along too. There's some horses over there. Again, my eyes are forward now, and I went off to the side just with my head, but I'm looking out of the corners of my eyes so I can watch what's coming on in front of me. And I think I must be in the top gear here, because there doesn't seem to be much response. But this is geared really low. And though this can get up to over 60, 63 or so on the highway, kind of on a down slope, it isn't really geared for that, and it does surprise you when you're going that slow and you're in the top gear. I'm probably going 32 or something right now, and we've got to be in the mid-range of the power band of the top gear. There's still quite a bit left, but there really isn't anything for top end on this. Now, I know a lot of people do change the sprockets on these, and it is a temptation for me too, to give it more top end. But what I've decided is I like the bike well enough as it is, and as I've said in previous videos, my concern is that I would do something that would take the Hawk offline, and we can't have the Hawk going offline for any time at all. So, you know, it would seem if like I was mechanically inclined that I could probably change the sprockets and then that would work okay. But as it is, it's still just fine. It performs really quite well. It just gives me not quite as much high end as I'd prefer, but it's so minor, I guess. And I don't want to say that the Hawk is perfect. It isn't, but it's so close to good enough at what it's supposed to do that the moment you start kind of toying with it, and you know, you're kind of adding a lot more variables. And I'll use the blinker for the first time this year. Still nice and quiet. One of the things I took care of 2 years ago. Still works though. No traffic behind me, and that's the way I like it. I really do like to drive slow on all of these roads, just because I want to be able to see and enjoy things, as I've often talked about here. So I think at the top of this next hill should be a herd of cows. Now, there's certainly no telling that they'll be very close. So there's a deer. Did a nice big jump there. I don't know if you saw that. You can see the white tail going back into the woods. Kind of nice to see a deer. I like to see them when they do those big super leaps. You know, those are always fun to see when they kind of hop like that. Kind of like you know, kind of like Odie did in those old Garfield cartoons. He'd kind of jump on all legs at one time, and I always kind of like that. And when I see a deer do it, it makes me kind of happy. I don't know why, but it's kind of graceful. So again, just killing the time.